Hi,
Okay.
everybody. Today I
Sorry.
it's fine. Today I'm chatting with the gorgeous Claire, and
Hi.
we've been chatting already. It was like, God, quick press record because we're just going to get on a roll with it. And so this is a Bird of Blab. I don't know if anyone saw previous Bird of Blabs where Blab actually existed, but Blab was a platform where we could do live chats and actually have people on live with us, and that's defunct now. So I'm still just having chats with people, which is delicious, and I have chats with lots of people, and sometimes I just have chats with one person, and today I'm going to chat with Claire. And Claire, I've known Claire for a while because we did Takeoff with Tash Corbin together, and
Yep.
I've also worked with you a bit, which has been gorgeous, and I know you've got a baby massage business, and you're also a productivity legend because you've
Yep.
got a corporate background. But it's better if you tell us what your like job title would be if you
Yeah,
had to give
sure.
yourself one.
That's a really good question, actually. So the baby massage thing is no longer, actually.
Aw.
Which is fine. It's totally where it needs to be. So I am, well, what's my current title at the moment? Recovering perfectionist, planner, podcaster, speaker, time bender, all of that sort of thing.
Nice.
In a nutshell, I guess planning and business coach and strategist. It's probably the more formal thing that I should be saying, but the other stuff sounds like more fun, right?
Totally. I love time bender. Can you tease that out for me for a bit?
Yeah, I guess when I try, I guess where my whole business has come from is that I do like to fit lots and lots of stuff in. And so I kind of, put systems into my personal and my business stuff so that it feels like you can get more done in less time or less done in more time, whatever it kind of needs to feel for you. So that's one of my favorite little titles. Yeah.
Oh, I like it. Sorry, I muted myself because I'm at my friend's house and she's walked in and she's talking to me. And I'm like talking over there. I'm talking to you. I'm muting you so we don't hear them. This is like
Oh gosh.
me just being on the fly.
Crazy.
I know. Sorry, people. So, and then if I was going to work with you, because I know I have done work with you where you helped me unpack what was in my head and get it really clear so I actually had a way to move forward. Like, what are sessions with you like now?
Yeah, it's still quite similar. I guess there's a bit more strategy and coaching sort of stuff that comes after that as well. So we kind of would do a massive download of current state of affairs, a bit of a mini review of what's happened in the previous period, whether that's the last month, 3 months, 6 months, year, or since the start of your business and that sort of thing. It's kind of like the fleshed out version of my online course, actually. So once we've done a bit of a review, I would really like to know what your background is and what some of your other skills are that either are or aren't being used in your business now. And the reason for that, working with people, and would be mapping out their sales funnel or their services and all of that sort of thing. And there would be a theme that would come through. And I'd be like, what's that theme? Can we just follow that for a minute? And they'd be like, oh yeah, my previous life was a project manager. Well, that's the thing. Like, it doesn't mean you have to be a project now. There's a set of skills that you're really good at and that you've done on a massive scale, so that sort of thing. So I just really like to bring all of that, make sure that you've got all of your skills on for people to pick up and use if they need to when they're in your business. And then I guess we kind of I what the big picture is and what's the end, what's the net goal next year so look like. And then we do a really specific 90-day plan. So that kind of my genius is that real nitty, that really specific, getting down to the details. Like I used to say when I was working in corporate to the CEO and all the big bosses, you just tell me what the end product needs to look like and I'll work out how to get us there.
Nice.
Like, I'll do the details, I'll do the delegating, I'll do the project coordination and the what needs to happen when and all of that thing.
Yeah.
So I guess it's that sort of thing. And then I guess the next step is some of those business hacks, like some of the awesome processes and procedures and systems and tools and apps that facilitate those things happening more efficiently and more effectively. So
cool.
Yeah.
And what's your 3 favorite tools?
Asana is definitely my favorite at the moment. I don't know if I've had this conversation with you, if you used to use it, but I had a few clients early on and they're like, I love Asana. And I downloaded it and I started trying to use it and I just oh my gosh, I felt like I was banging my head against a brick wall. I was like, I
Yeah.
can't even add a project. What's going on here? And I thought I must have set it up for like the wrong level, and then I don't know what had happened. So I converted everyone over to Trello.
Oh yeah.
Which I also like. I don't use it as much anymore. But then I went back to Asana because everyone just kept raving and raving and raving. I'm like, there must be something I'm not getting. So I figured it out. It's a long story, but I figured it out, and now it's the place that I live. It's the place I just absolutely love it. My whole life is in there. I've got my personal stuff and my business stuff in there.
Nice.
I've got my husband into it. He does it for his job and for our personal stuff. So I'm my number one.
Yeah.
What else? I really love, which is the free financial like bookkeeping software. That's really cool.
Waves.
And probably Evernote would be the other. Wave apps. It's like the free version of Xero sort of thing.
Yeah, I think
so I really like that. Yeah, and I use Evernote quite frequently. I have a bit of a love-hate relationship with Evernote, but I think I've tamed it down to just do what I need it to do now.
Yeah,
which is more of a database or it literally like a notebook rather than a project management and delegation tool, which I was trying to use it for before.
Oh, yeah.
And my other one, I'll just chuck in a fourth one, is Canva. I love Canva. Nice. I live there.
I know. It's a happy place, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah, and I noticed they've upgraded it a lot now too. Like there's a lot more features, like you can group things together and drag them around, and you can do transparent backgrounds. Like there was a few limitations it had that really used to ick me, and so I got this other thing called Affinity Designer, which is like Illustrator for Mac, which I still love. But now Canva's improved a bit. It's like, it's a bit of a tougher call. It was a bit, I had a little break from Canva.
Yeah, right.
Not good enough.
And I ended up getting the paid version as well because, like I said, I do so much stuff in there for me and for clients as well. And just being able to resize things and share things and all that sort of stuff that, when I wasn't doing it so much didn't make such a difference. But now if I had to replicate everything, 5 times for different sizes and dimensions, it would do my head in. So I'm happy to pay the $10 a month or whatever it is. So,
Yeah, I can totally relate. Yeah. I also love that you can have your own fonts. You can upload fonts. Then it has your fonts selected all the time, and also your brand colors are there waiting for you. There's a few good things about paid,
and you can have. I think probably is only the paid. I have several different brands. So I've got my main brand, my podcast brand, my like I'm doing a 1-day retreat with in a joint project. So I've got colors for that. So every time I go and do something, I've already got all the preset colors for whatever different brand I'm working on at the time.
Cool.
Massive time saver.
I'd love to see a video tutorial on that because I haven't actually set up multiple brands, but I'm about to need that. So if you need video content,
that's actually on my list. I've got in Pause for Effect, which is the online course. There's 7 mini trainings on my 7 favorite apps, and Canva's the last one that I need to do, which I'm recording today. And they'll all actually be all 7 of them, of those little mini videos, will actually form a little opt-in course in the next week or so, probably as well. I'll set that up. So,
oh my God, how exciting! And so now I know we just said before that you've got a new thing that you're doing called the Recovering Perfectionist, and you've got a podcast with that. And so can you tease that out a bit for me? Like, I mean, I feel like I can relate to that. I feel like it's been a lesson for me to kind of, at school you get a lot of kudos from being really good at getting everything right. But the life experience, what life requires of you is this other thing, which is to be like agile and to not be a perfectionist and to, I mean, you can keep trying to be a perfectionist, but you just get really sad all the time.
Yes, right. That's so true. I guess, in a nutshell, it's quite a long story. It's always a long story with me. In a nutshell, I started thinking about doing a podcast about, and I didn't really know what it was for and who it was for and what it was about and where it fitted in with everything. And then I was sitting, I don't know what happened, but something hit me and I was like, oh my God, I've got it. And I was actually going to call it Ain't No Poster Girl. right? Because, and it's a very long story, but I very, very quickly, I had an awesome session with Leah Kearns, who's the Soul Startup entrepreneur, who I absolutely love, and everyone who's ever talked to me will know that I'm completely in love with her because I always talk about her. And we did this session, this intuitive business sort of session, and I was like, oh, I don't really know what I'm doing with my business. I don't really know where I'm going.
Yeah.
And so she sort of teased a few things out of me, and she was like, no, you're kind of like, you're not the pin-up girl for I Got It Together. You're the pin-up girl for this is real life, and you can do this, and it doesn't have to be perfect, right? And I'm like, I was doing this, and I was thinking, no, I'm the poster girl for I Got My Shit Together. Right. So then 6 months later, this thing hit me, and I'm like, oh, I know poster girl. And about 2 days later, I thought, oh my God, Leah told me this. She told me this 6 months ago. And I had completely shelved it and totally forgotten about it. Yeah. And it had come back to me like, okay, that's a sign that this is the right thing.
Nice.
And then a couple of days later, I was like, oh, that title doesn't quite fit. But what I'm actually trying to say is the recovering perfectionist, which was another hashtag I always use.
Yeah.
And I guess it's just been a massive theme for me, I suppose, like getting over this probably a year ago, and one of the first comments I got back from someone was, hey, congratulations, well done, I'm so proud of you for putting something out there before it was perfect. And my first reaction was, someone thinks I've done something that wasn't perfect. And I was like, okay, hang on, it's all right, this was a plan, that was the whole idea.
Yeah,
cool, that's how it's supposed to be. So I guess since becoming a mum and kind of having to just go with the flow a bit more, I'm still a bit of a control freak, and I'll still always be somewhat of a perfectionist, but I'm so much more okay with stuffing stuff up now and just putting it out there. Like I physically don't have the time to do everything as perfectly as I want to. And I saw a quote probably on Instagram or something, I don't know, a few months ago that said, your 80% is someone else's 180% or something to that effect.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, that's so true. Like we hold ourselves to such ridiculously high standards that no one else would. It's almost annoying to other people that they're just like, can I just have whatever, wherever it is at the moment. I know as a consumer, if someone's like dragging the heels because they want it to be perfect, I'm like, don't worry about it. I just want it now. I just want the thing at whatever point it's at now. And so, I guess it's just kind of supporting people and giving people a voice and giving people space to just not do things perfectly and to make mistakes and to own their, all that sort of stuff. So, and it's been awesome since I've started using that and talking about the podcast, and I've changed my Facebook group name over to that, and then there's the planner, and there's so many people just like, oh my God, this is so me, that's exactly me, and that's exactly what I am, and that sort of thing. Like it's really resonated with so many people. So it's definitely the right sort of a message and thing. So yeah.
And I think in some way, like finding it, like just peeling away the layers to reveal your brand is it's a process that you have to go through. And if you are a perfectionist and you're waiting to get it right before you launch, you're actually basically never going to launch because I know how much my business has evolved over a year. I guess a year is a good way for you and I to reflect because that's how long we've been at it. And I feel a lot clearer now, and I still don't feel like I have brand colors in the perfect font or anything, but I'm also totally able to just make something happen in lieu of having the perfect thing, and actually just make something happen or allow something to come into reality rather than clinging on and waiting for like this perfect moment where everything's how I think it should be.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. And I heard this other great thing the other day that was saying, and when you're becoming a master of something, that your tastes are always ahead of your ability. And so, and it doesn't matter how good you are at something, that you always have tastes slightly above your capability. So like for me, in terms of web design, say, like I'm really can be really critical about websites, and I can go, now that's a good website. And so for me to have my website there is kind of impossible because of so many things. So it's good to know that too, that like what you love and what you think your business should be is actually usually beyond what you're actually able to deliver on right now.
It's so true. Yeah, it's so true.
And that's okay.
It's still at the aspirational level of someone else who's not quite there as well. So just remembering that you're still able to help people because you're still ahead of someone, like you're still further on your journey than someone else, and being able to bring them up to speed, even if you're not the end product yet, is really important. So yeah, totally. I just absolutely love that whole idea of, getting started and not not being so worried about all the ifs or you know, how it's going to look. And it's a massive process. Like you said, it's a huge process to go through. And there's been conversations I've had recently that I have initially thought, oh, I wish I had this conversation, or I wish I had this coach, or I wish I had this session a year ago. But in retrospect, if I had it a year ago, it wouldn't have made any difference, because I would still have had to go through this process of trying things out and thinking like, oh, I definitely just want to work with that sort of a person. And then I would have been pigeonholed and not being able to work with all the people who I work with now, you know, and that sort of thing. So I think it's just a process you have to go through. In the first year in your business, you've got to give yourself permission just to try things out, make stuff up, put your hand on your heart and say, I totally mucked that up and whatever. And I think the other thing I've had a conversation with Jasmine Andrews about recently, and she's read something that said perfection is normally, not always, but perfection should actually be avoidance, because often we're trying to perfect something, we're actually trying to avoid something else. So we're trying to avoid embarrassment, or we're trying to avoid the next step, or the do whatever. So we get obsessive about, like you said, the colors and the fonts and all the things that don't really matter and aren't going to make you money and, you know, all that sort of thing. So yeah, I think it's just a process, and you have to go through it. And now that I feel like I'm kind of on the other side, and I know it'll be a continual process, but this first year has been so critical in just, trying things out.
Yeah, so, it is. It's a good big year. And I think there's like a big magic. It speaks about perfectionism really beautifully. And what are other good resources for people to just like loosen the heck up? Have you got a couple of favorite podcasts? I bet you've been listening to a few now if you're getting ready to do one.
Oh gosh, yeah, I have listened to a few. I don't think any of them have really covered that topic though. I listen to mostly business ones that are quite practical and strategic, like Tasha's, and the other one I have to listen to Brene Brown and Liz Gilbert. Yeah, they're great on ability together. They just one, I think it was just one episode that was really cool. That I was on my way to a party and I was just sobbing. I was just absolutely bawling. It's just amazing. But what else? I haven't read a great deal of books recently. I kind of seem to read a couple of chapters and then read something else and read something else. So
I reckon also Being Boss is a corker. Have you listened to Being Boss?
I think I've got it downloaded, but I don't think I've actually listened to it yet.
It took me ages to come around to those women, and I just love it now. Like there's even often the title, I'll feel like, oh, I don't really want to listen to that one. But once I actually get into it, I'm like, oh yes, they just really make a lot of sense to me. There's a bunch of good stuff. So your podcast is going to be called The Recovering Perfectionist.
Yes, and it launches on the 6th of December.
Awesome.
Oh, I'm so excited. I think I've already got 7 or 8 recordings ready to go. So there'll be enough to hopefully keep people busy over the holidays. I'm going away for a couple of weeks over December. So there'll be between the 6th of December and I guess late January, I think there'll be about 13 or 14 episodes already. So
awesome. Holiday listening.
Plenty of juice. Yay! Yeah, I hope so.
Then, and we also discussed your planner, which, like I said to you before, it could be like a bit of a bit confusing for people if they're like, they're like me. I just swing from like one extreme to the other. So I go from like perfectionism to like complete rebel. So I go like, because that didn't work. Well, I better just try the complete opposite by being completely random, having no plan and no strategy, and being completely ad hoc. And so when someone approached me about, having a daily structure or using planners and stuff, I was like, well, that's not going to work for me because I don't operate like that. So how does a planner help a perfectionist actually, segue into a good life?
Go through their rehab. It's a really good question. So my absolute, like I said, my thing that I love is planning. I just love having that structure. I'm very, like, my best friend would be like, when can I book an appointment with you, sort of thing, because I've literally got my life planned to it, roughly, especially in the business and that sort of thing, several weeks in advance. And I've got, lists of all the lists I need to make before I go on holiday. And that's just sort of my thing, right? Yeah. And part of that, I think, is that sort of control freakiness and that kind of perfectionist trying to do things well. But I also think it kind of has given me the foundation and the kind of jumping off block to be able to be more spontaneous and more creative, because I've got that level. When I talk about this, when I go traveling, when we, when we've gone overseas or whatever, whether it was myself or me, my husband or whatever, we've all kind of just had a rough idea of some places we might have wanted to see, but then we'd, finish in one city and go, right, let's go to the train station in the morning and just see where the next train's going, and then we'll get there, have a look around, then maybe try and find accommodation, and we're very seat of our pants when we sort of traveled and just went around the place. And that seems to me like, even when I think about it now, I think, oh God, it's so disorganized and it's so scary. But I know that I can have that flexibility because I've got foundations. I've got traveler's checks, I've got a Euro pass, and I've got money, and I've got a credit card, and I've got my travel insurance, and I've got my Lonely Planet if I need to find a place. Like, I've kind of got all of the other things in place so that if shit hits the fan, it's not actually going to be the end of the world. So I think it's similar to getting over that stuff. And if you can, if people are like, we've object syndrome, so we're like, I'll have that course and I'll do that lunch and I'll buy that thing and I'll try and do this, and I want to create this course, and I'm going to do this offer, I'm going to do this in Canva, blah, 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 and we get so many things that we really want to do, and then you hit this overwhelm and then you stop doing anything. That's the sort of perfectionism, like, I'm going to do this and this and this, and then you go, oh crap, I can't do any of it because I'm burnt out, I'm tired, I can't see the forest for the trees because I've got too much. So I guess the planner is kind of a way, or plan, and whether you use mine or not, is a way to kind of organize those things so that you don't have to overplan everything every single day, because you can use it quite a far out. So say if you've got quite a few courses and tech things that you want to either implement or check out, rather than trying to do them all at the time, like each week sort of set out so that you can just focus on one app, that's all. And then you might even pre-plan and put all the other ones in the next couple of weeks. You might say if you buy a course and you know that there's a live call every week, and then you want to spend another couple of hours exploring it or whatever, you put that into your calendar and you put that into the planner, so you don't then go, okay, well, I've got time to do more things, because you actually don't. You really want to focus on this one thing. So it kind of just helps you sort of step things out so that it doesn't get to that point of overwhelm, so that you can actually get more done and have more time, have that feeling of productivity and like that you've achieved stuff. So you haven't just collected more, actually achieved things in a really comfortable kind of a manner. And there's also a little section on there for letting it go. So it's, every single week, what am I letting go? What am I taking off my to-do list? What am I not going to worry about? The things, lots of little bits and pieces in there that I hope kind of just clears some of the murkiness and gets through the overwhelm, so you can actually get more done, but not feel like you're totally stressed out.
And so it's obviously PDF, like downloadable and printable.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And then is there a video or something that goes with it to help me understand what all the bits do?
Well, there's 4 live quarterly planning workshops, actually. So January, April, July and October. So there'll be 3 live workshops that'll be recorded. So anyone who buys it will get a recording if they can't attend live. And there'll probably be little inserts as well during the year, I think, as I sort of course.
That's such a bargain.
It is a bargain. I probably made it a little bit too cheap.
Oh my God.
But I really, really wanted to get it out to Weldon.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool because, like I said, I really love doing that 90-day planning sort of a thing. And I really believe that that's where some really great, movement can happen when you just focus on the next 3 months, 2 to 3 months, because it's easy, it's achievable, and you can literally, like I say, swing your legs out of bed in the morning and know exactly what you need to be doing that week, that day, to actually be hitting your goals. And we set milestones and rewards and celebrations and gratitude and all of that sort of thing. So there's, there's a lot in there, but it's hopefully trying to take away the overwhelm rather than add to it. So
no, that sounds awesome, because I love 90-day planning, and I often do that. Like, I've just ran a campaign called The Campaign, and we did a 90-day marketing plan, and I've done it for my business a couple of quarters like last quarter and the quarter before, and maybe even the one before. And since I learned that approach, it's been a game changer for business. And even though there's still the part of me that rebels, that goes, no, I don't want to write what I'm going to blog every week for the next 12 weeks because that's so restrictive. So I do it in pencil, and I just say to my little rebel, that's fine. We're just going to write something down. And if the time comes and you don't want to blog about that, that's okay. Like, I have to appease myself. Yeah. And then I get to the week and I get my eraser out in my like fury of rebellion and like about to rub it out. I'm like, actually, that's really on topic.
It's a really good one.
I really do want to blog about that this week. So
yeah.
Oh, the inner rebel. Okay, so what's the link? Because I'm going to go get my copy now. That's so exciting.
Oh, lovely. It's bit.ly, so bit.ly/TRP 2017 planner. So as in the Recovering Perfectionist 2017 planner.
Nice.
Or you can just go to clairebarton.com.au and there's a big freebies tab. There's a big tab, a big button on the right that says 2017 planner.
Awesome.
It's easier.
Cool. And the podcast will be out in a few weeks.
Oh my gosh.
I can't believe I have to wait till January for the planning session. I don't know. I think, can't we do it in December?
Well, I thought about doing it in December. I'm going to be in Bali, so I'm not going to plan anything live just in case the internet's not so great.
Yeah, nice. We'll have a great time in Bali.
Thank you. I will. I'm looking forward to it. Be nice to have a bit of a break.
It's been great to talk to you. Thank you so much for coming on with me. And
anytime.
Everyone can just find you on Facey, Claire Barton. It's probably clairebarton.com. The world of Claire. Yeah.
All right. Yeah, facebook.com/Claire Barton Coaching, I think, is my Facebook page. And there's a group and there's Instagram. Awesome. Social media land, Claire.
Yay.
Yeah, cool.
You rock.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me.
Pleasure. I'll see you soon. I'm going to stop
recording.
See ya.